Hello, this is Allison Carmen, and welcome to my podcast, 10 Minutes to Less Suffering. And the name of today's podcast is How Can We Detach from Our Problems? A lot of us think that when people are detached, that means they're not going to care. That means they're not going to be invested. That means they're not going to be involved. But the truth is, when you're detached, your heart is open. When you're detached, you can be involved. When you're detached, you could be totally connected. But at the same time, nothing owns you. Nothing controls you. You don't identify with the thing that's happening in the outside world as you. Nothing in the outside world gets to dictate how you choose to feel. And when we could detach from our problems, we can deal with our problems, but at the same time, we could sleep at night. We could try to solve our problems, but we're not walking around overly stressed and worried. We realize that things come and go, and we exist with or without our problems. We existed before our problems, will exist after our problems. So it's just a different view of the world. One where you own your life, you own your responsibilities, you own what's happening in your life, but nothing owns you. And this came up the other day when a friend of mine called me. She had bought a house a few years ago, and during one of the hurricanes in Florida, her house was damaged, her roof was damaged, her bathrooms were damaged, and the house was insured, but the insurance company did not want to pay. So she ended up having to go to court. And in fact, not only did she have to go to court, she was involved in a 5-day trial. There was a jury, and in the end, the insurance company won. It was determined that it was normal wear and tear on her roof. And as time went on, she found out that in Florida, when you buy a home, if the roof is more than 20 years old, it should really be replaced. And that's probably the reason why she lost in court. And she was so devastated by this experience. She was devastated about the trial. She thought that the insurance company lied. She thought that she was insured. And she also was stressed because she didn't really know if she had the money to replace a $30,000 roof. And as we were talking, she was owned by the problem. And I get it. She was upset. She was probably not given the best information when she bought her house. She went through a very difficult situation with the trial, missing work, having a young baby. So there were real things that happened that she has every right to be upset about. But where we get hooked is, how long are we going to let that control us? Yes, we have to process our feelings, but how long will that control our moods every day? How we're going to go forward with life? We have to remember when something very difficult happens in our life, it's often a crossroad. We often have a choice. Are we going to let that thing control us? Are we going to shut down? Are we going to think the world is bad? Are we not going to trust anybody anymore? Or are we going to take the other road? Are we going to say, okay, what part can I control? What part can I learn from? Where can I have more wisdom here? And am I really going to go around not trusting anybody, thinking everyone's trying to wrong me? Or am I going to get the best information I can, and am I going to know that I can trust that I will be okay no matter what? I trust me, and if I'm trusting me, then I know whatever happens, I'll work it out. So either we could become very attached to what happened and let it own us, or we could detach, take the lesson, grow as an individual, learn to trust ourselves more, learn to be smarter if we can next time, and move on and expand as a human being, and not walk around thinking everyone's bad and things are never going to work out. Being wiser than that, understanding that there are people that might not have our best interest at heart, but doesn't mean we shouldn't go out into the world, doesn't mean we shouldn't take chances and risks. We do the best we can, and we know that we will land on our feet no matter what. And that is how we detach and we grow and we evolve. So as I heard my friend speaking, I heard her starting to say that it makes her feel that the world is bad. How could she afford to replace her roof? And I even heard the fact that she was thinking about just patching her roof. And I thought to myself, that's not learning the lesson. Because if she has a flood again and she has a problem again, she won't be insured again. So she really needed to pull back and say, what do I need to do? Is there anybody that's responsible when I bought the house that didn't give me the right information? What do I need to do today to protect myself? How can I get the money to fix my roof? And how can I let this situation not shut me down? In fact, how can I open up more? How can I choose the meaning I want to give to this? We detach when we determine the meaning of an experience that we have. We take control of that. We are in control of our inner world. And I know it's not always easy because things are very painful sometimes. Sometimes we're hurt, sometimes we lose things, sometimes we have grief, but we can process that. And over time, find a place to land. Over time, find a place to pull back and decide how we want to live this life, how we want to move forward. And my friend, after a while, is coming to this. She's seeing that she has steps to take, but she doesn't want to see the world as bad. She doesn't want to not buy homes or make investments. She doesn't want to close her heart. In fact, she wants to open more. But in order to do that, again, we must detach. We must not let the outside world control our perspective. We choose that. We choose whether or not we're going to trust ourselves every day. We choose whether we're going to get out there again, try again, go for that new job, go for that new relationship, and know that no matter what happens, we can survive the pain. And that's another reason why we attach to situations, because they're so painful. We don't want it to happen again. So we close our hearts. We'll say, okay, I'm just going to hold on tight here so I don't have to go through that experience again. But all we're doing is experiencing that pain again every day. If you're holding on to something, it is limiting your life. And every day that pain continues on. It limits you. It limits your experience. You're always afraid. You're always worried. You're never going to quite get where you want to go. And that's why detachment is so important. And with that detachment, again, you realize I can survive this pain. How do I know that? Because I survived last time. How do I know that? Because I trust I'll be okay no matter what. And how do I know that? Because life is uncertain. The past is over. Because life is uncertain, good things could happen too. And if you start to think like this, you detach from your past, you detach eventually from your pain, you detach from anything that happens to you in the outside world, from controlling how you feel every day and controlling the choices that you make. When we are free, we could intentionally choose other things. When we are free, nothing owns us. When we are free, we find our dreams. We find our true desires. We pursue our goals and we take risks, and we're not so worried about hurt. We're more concerned about our freedom and our expansion and us getting the most out of every day and every moment. That's what detachment is. It's living with an open heart, being so open and in on everything, being close to people, close to your business, close to your work, close to anything that you love, but having a really good relationship with it. And that good relationship comes from, no matter what happens every day, know that you get to choose. You get to choose whether or not you're going to move forward. You get to choose whether or not you're going to process your pain. You get to choose whether you're going to have a better perspective. You get to choose every day to wake up and see it as a new beginning. And you get to choose to trust yourself every day and know that you will be okay no matter what. And I know I've been saying this a lot on every podcast, but you are okay when you decide to be okay. And you can let go when you decide to let go. And the world stops controlling you, and the experiences outside of you stop controlling you, and other people's opinions stop controlling you when you detach and you decide to take control. But don't close your heart. If you close your heart, you're being controlled by the outside world. If you let anything that happens to you change you to a person that lives in fear, that lives in worry, that lives in stress, and doesn't pursue their life's purpose, then you are not free. You have what it takes to detach with an open heart, with a loving spirit, to solve your problems, pursue your life's purpose, and to always know that maybe the best is yet to come. Thank you for listening to this podcast today. If you'd like to get in touch with me, you could email me at allison@allisoncarmen.com. If you'd like to buy my books, The Gift of Maybe or Year Without Men, they're available at all major bookstores and online retailers. And if you like this podcast, you could subscribe and leave a comment.